Hello and welcome to Money Tips. This is Charles Kelly. Hope you're having a good day there, and you're keeping safe with all of this madness going on around us. And I hope you're all well. In the UK, in case you don't know, we're under what's called a Tier 4 lockdown virtually everywhere in the country, and that is having obviously a devastating effect on small businesses. So what I'm asking you today is, as a small business, a self-employed person, have you applied for the Self-Employed Income Support Scheme grant, or sometimes called the SEISS, SEISS? This third one now, this is the third scheme from going on from last year. This is the third Self-Employed Income Support Scheme as announced by the Chancellor Rishi Sunak last November. And that's open for applications, and this grant will cover up to 80% of lost income between November and January. That's a bit of an ambiguous figure. You have to go onto the portal, and they will assess what is 80% of your income based on your trading profits for the last 3 years. So you need to go on and check that. And if you meet this eligibility criteria, it will provide a lump sum for you of up to 7,500 maximum, and up to 80% of your average trading profits, whichever's the higher or lower rather. Now, beware of scams and only use the official government portal. There are a lot of scams going around claiming they can do this for you and do that for you. There was even a scam the other day of somebody who went into a 90-year-old woman and charged her for a vaccine, and even injected something in her arm. And I think he charged her £150 for this so-called vaccine, and injected into his arm. I think if the police catch up with him, he's going to be in serious trouble of assault as well as fraud. So there are a lot of scams around. As always, the criminals will be out there trying to jump on the bandwagon, or give you or get in between you and the portal for a fee. So just be careful of that. And so just go onto the official government claims portal, and I'll put a link on my Money Tips website. It might not appear on the Facebook page, but you can Google it anyway. But I'll put a link on my moneytipsdaily.com website. And you have until the 29th of January this month to claim for this. And once you apply and go on the portal, the revenue, the HMRC will check your eligibility, and they'll pay the grant in within 6 working days. Now, I know some people have had this grant, and it is fairly easy to use, as is the bounce back loans as well. And you'll need to get this, you'll need a specific number called a UTR number. It's a unique taxpayer reference. And I'll put up a link on my website as to how you can get that from the government. It will also appear on your tax return. If you've got any tax returns, tax assessment forms, it's a long number, I think about 9 or 10 figures. You can find that number on there. If you're not registered at all, then you probably haven't paid any tax. You probably won't get anything, and I'll come on to that in a second. You'll need your NI, national insurance number, and then you've got to go through a bit of rigmarole with a government gateway ID, user and password. You'll have to set this up. It's a bit of a hassle, but you've just got to go through these things. Your bank details, and you must make the claim for yourself. Your tax agent or financial advisor must not claim on your behalf, as this will trigger a fraud alert if somebody else is trying to claim on your behalf. So it must be in your name and your claim. There is supposedly a fourth grant coming, covering February to April. But God knows how long this lockdown is going to go on for. It's costing the country, not the government, taxpayers like you and I, billions of pounds a month. The government has already borrowed. The cost of this is running into 300 billion just for last year. And the Chancellor and other people are saying the pain is not over, it's just beginning. So I don't know how we're going to come out of this if they keep the country locked down like this and keep businesses from actually trading and doing their things. Now, employees, of course, are still able to benefit from the furlough scheme, the coronavirus job retention scheme. That pays 80% of furloughed employees' salary, up to £2,500 per month, and that's been extended until the end of March. Again, I think if people were allowed to go back to work, we wouldn't need all these schemes. And I know there's a virus out there, and we've got to be careful. But this action appears to be, I think, going too far. And many commentators in the opposition party are calling for even tougher action. Now, many self-employed people are also slipping through the net and not getting any support at all. They're not getting any support whatsoever. And small business owners I've spoken to, many of them say that they don't qualify for the grants or even bounce back loans because they have either recently set up their business and therefore have no sort of trade-in profits, or their profits are just too low to make it worthwhile claiming, and some may have claimed a loss at a certain time in a year, as many small businesses setting up in the first couple of years will go through a loss period, so that can be an issue, and then you won't get these grants or the bounce back loans. And there is an option, of course, of claiming income support benefits through universal credit, but many self-employed people are still trying to keep their businesses going, so they're technically working and they're not really unemployed and able to claim these benefits because they're still trying to keep going. Maybe their physical branch is shut down, but they're trying to do business online. So it's difficult there. They haven't closed up completely and shut their businesses down. They're still hopeful of keeping going. And as the government hints at further tougher lockdown action, the Federation of Small Businesses today said that up to 250,000 small businesses could go under this year or are likely to go under this year. That's 250,000 small businesses could go under. That means 250,000 people will be then unemployed and claiming some benefit, and God knows how many employees will go with them, because small businesses actually account for 60% of employment in this country. So a small business could be a one-man band, but it could also be a business employing 3, 4, 5, 10 people, and if they go under, then the country is going to see some serious claims for universal credit, and then they'll be claiming for their rent payments, and it just goes on and on. It's not just replacing the income, and how we're going to cope with this, I just don't know. So the sooner we can get back to some sort of normality with perhaps restrictions in place, maybe at tier 3, the better it will be for small businesses, and also ultimately for the taxpayers like us who are paying for all of these these schemes. It all sounds very well saying, we'll put this scheme in place, we'll put that scheme in place, but it has to be paid for somewhere down the line. And all the governments here and in other countries seem to be doing is just printing money willy-nilly and borrowing more money from institutions to fund these extravagant schemes. And meanwhile, the country is just going down because of all these schemes. Now, funny enough, as all these things are happening, and as we've got a crisis in the White House with possible impeachment of the sitting president, who's only got a week or two to go, but they want to impeach him, you think that the stock markets would be falling, but they're not. They're still riding high. This current bull run and this situation of the stock markets going up for the last year, during the worst crisis we've had for 300 years in this country, the worst recession we've had for 300 years in this country, the stock market seems to be still riding high, and property prices still seem to be riding high. Is that sustainable? Well, in my opinion, no. So what will happen, I don't know. But the market is irrational, and this irrationality, as Milton Friedman once said, can go on for an indefinite period. So we don't know how things are going. I think the markets personally are going up because of the amount of money that's been pumped into the economy artificially by the government to prevent a collapse, but not just by the UK government, by other governments, and that money is finding its way into investors who are buying shares, and it's pushing up the share prices. The share price of companies like Tesla went up by 1,500% last year. Amazon's gone up by hundreds of percent last year, making Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos the richest men in the world, according to the figures anyway. There might be wealthy people living on islands somewhere, I don't know. Maybe they've got more money than Elon Musk's $188 billion, but I doubt if there are too many, maybe outside of Middle East royal families anyway. But this wealth has been pushed up by the change in this economy. And many businesses are going down that are physical businesses or cannot operate, while these online giants and the Silicon Valley giants, their share prices are shooting up through the roof because more people are switching to online trading. And it's all right saying to a small shop you can't sell your goods, but then people can go and buy them on Amazon and get them delivered by some van driver who's delivered 100 things that day. And I don't know, it just seems nonsense. I mean, someone was telling me that in one of the London Marks and Spencer stores, a food store which is combined with clothing, they were also selling clothes and stuff. Now, good luck to them if they can get away with it, but I thought that wasn't allowed. I thought that clothes shops all over the country are shut down, and if you look at Oxford Street, one of the busiest shopping streets in Europe, you look at it, it's dead. And these companies are paying all the cost and rates and business taxes and all these things that they're and then we're paying for their furloughed staff, which is tens of thousands of staff. Meanwhile, they can't open, and yet stores that can say, well, we're selling a bit of food, can open, and then people can, while I'm here buying food, maybe I can buy a few non-essential items. And then we have the ridiculous situation of over the weekend of two women getting arrested on a beauty spot in Derby, a couple of miles away from their home, and they were walking along, socially distancing. The police said you're too far away from home, you're supposed to be near your home, but that's not actually defined in law. And because they were carrying coffees, they said that constitutes a picnic. Well, guys, if you want to take your girlfriend on a picnic, then all you need now is a coffee. Say, I'm taking you on a picnic on Hampstead Heath or some lovely place in the summer, and then just say, here's the picnic, a coffee, because that's what the police in Derbyshire has defined as a picnic. So there you go. It's got ridiculous now. The Mayor of London is calling for tougher action, crack down on anybody that's in parks that shouldn't be there. To me, it's just got it's going too far. It's going into loony territory. But there you go. I can't see any change in that because everybody's calling for tougher action. Even some of the members of the public say, we need tougher action. We need to arrest people. We need to fine them. We need to do this. We need to do that. They're walking in the middle of nowhere. And of course, last year we had one police force following people with drones in Derbyshire again. Following people walking a dog on a lonely beauty spot somewhere in Derby. People have to get out. People need exercise. People need fresh air. They can't always do that right near their homes. I mean, if I step out into a place near where I am, there's lots of people walking around. They're on bikes, they're on rollerblades, they're on scooters. So you need to perhaps go somewhere where it's a bit quieter, where you can properly socially distance from people. So there you go. But with London apparently having 1 in 30 people infected, although they don't tell us how many of these people have actually recovered from the disease. They just keeps piling on the figures, and in the rest of the country they're saying 1 in 50 are infected. I don't see any change. In fact, Chris Whitty was on one news channel today saying it's going to get tougher and all this sort of stuff. But at what cost? That is the big question. At what cost to the country, to businesses, to people's livelihoods? I just don't know. So thanks for listening. I'm sure it's been a bit of doom and gloom, but the only thing I can say, if you are an investor, then watch out for opportunities to perhaps pick up cheaper assets this year or next year, as I think prices of shares could come down and property could come down as well. So you might see greater opportunities, but obviously it's at someone's cost, because as one person loses something, somebody else will gain. As when the stock market goes down, somebody's losing, but then somebody will also gain from that by selling or shorting or buying the assets at cheaper prices. So I think we're going to see an interesting time this year, so gear up for that. Try and learn about these things. Don't just jump in and buy the latest fad, whether it's gold or property, without understanding what it is, or even Bitcoin, which I think went up to $40,000 over the weekend per Bitcoin. That's another episode in itself, and you've really got to be very careful not to jump on that bandwagon unless you really know what you're doing and you fully understand it. So there you go. Thanks for listening. This is Charles Kelly, bringing you money tips to help you save, earn, invest, accumulate, enjoy more money. This is my book, Yes, Money Can Buy You Happiness, which you can find on Amazon. and you don't even need to go into a shop to buy that. So thanks for listening, and bye for now. Thanks for everyone tuned in on Facebook Live. Always great to see you. Hi to Miriam, Mario, and Cecile. Thanks for tuning in, and do share the post if you can. If you can find it on my Facebook feed, do share the post and like it. And I welcome any comments. If you whether you agree with me or not, I do welcome your comments. But please don't forget to like and share it. Thanks very much for listening, and have a good evening. Bye for now. Stay safe.